Have you ever dreamed of playing professional baseball? Do you think you have what it takes? Well, now's your chance to prove it. We're looking for the next baseball superstar. Register at thetryout.com for your chance to prove you have what it takes.
25 years ago, one extraordinary show danced its way into history. Riverdance. Now it's time for the next step. Experience the breathtaking phenomenon.
Don't miss Riverdance, January 17th through January 19th at Ruth Eggert Hall for 3 performances. Tickets on sale now at rutheggerthall.com.
Get on base with the Morgan Auto Group. We've got the vehicle you want at the price you need, with the service you deserve. With 7 Bay Area dealerships, you're always on a winning team. When you make it Morgan, we make it happen.
Reach out, oh, with Ray and Steve. Reach out, with Ray and Steve. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the car.
Hello, everybody, and a very pleasant good evening to you wherever you may be on this date, December 14th, 11 days to Christmas. Welcome to Reach Out with Ray and Steve and moi. Ray, Steve, and Robby, the show where East meets West. The Yankees meet the Dodgers, hopefully, prayerfully, next year in the World Series. Baseball meets music, the only show you're ever going to find that baseball and music intertwine, and we all come together for a community. All right, I have 2 friends that are somewhere on the East Coast. I don't know if they're in Florida. I don't know if they're in England or if they're in New York City, but let's get them on here if they are here. Where are you guys? There you Where are you?
Robby, how you doing?
I'm
Hello,
doing
Robert.
good.
Good.
Hey,
We're actually,
it's a special show. I got dressed up.
Robby, what's with that jacket?
Hey, I'm still basking in the glory of the glow of last night's concert that we had, Jam for Jesus, in Santa Clarita, California. It was an amazing night, and I'm still partying. We're still celebrating.
Now, it's over 30 years you've been doing that, correct?
This is the 31st year we did it.
Wow.
It's amazing. I mean, it was, oh, what a night it was. No doubt about it. We had some of the world's best musicians all on the stage, all at the same time. There's some of the band. I mean,
yes,
it was a world-class band. I mean, truly.
No doubt. Robby, what gives you the passion to do that after 31 years?
Hold on a second. Say that one more time. I don't hear you very well, but I hear you okay.
What gives you the passion after 31 years to do what you do?
Hey, you know what? I like to follow after one of my role models, and his name is Johann Sebastian Bach. And
Nice.
Bach, on all of the music that he did, he wrote SDG, Soli Deo Gloria. And that's what I like to do. It inspires me to give glory to God in everything that I do. And I love music, and I love to use the gifts and talents that he so graciously gave me to share with the world. And that's what I do.
Well, it's beautiful. I just want to remind people this is Tan Talk Radio Network, AM 1340, AM 1350, AM 1400, FM 106.1, and FM 104.3. We're here every Wednesday. I want to thank Bobby behind the glass there, Carmine and Anna back at home and doing the thing over in New Jersey and New York, and we're here in Florida. So we're still here, and I know you were just in Florida. But before we get started, Robbie, do you know any police officer out there that's helped giving birth to 5 babies? Do you know anybody like that out there?
I know one. He's my favorite police officer, New York City policeman.
Yes, John Eric Negron, right?
You know what?
And
He's the good-looking Negron.
there
Watch
you go.
yourself, Robbie. Watch yourself, Robbie.
Well, you know what? Let's bring John Eric and surprise Papa Ray here
Oh, wow.
with his son, John Eric. John, are you on the line there?
Steve, what's going on? How are you?
How you doing?
Oh, man.
The baby whisperer.
Wow. Nice.
That's it, the baby whisperer.
Talk about that for the people in Florida and around the country that are watching or listening to this show. First of all, what you did, and you just appeared on the Jennifer Hudson show, so congrats to you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a wild few weeks since me and my co-workers helped deliver my 5th baby of my career up here in Long Island in Suffolk County. We assisted a mother in her living room deliver her newborn son 2 weeks ago, and actually missed my dad's birthday by a day, I think. And the baby was ready to come before they could make it to the hospital. They called 911, and myself and 3 other police officers, we showed up, and we helped the mom deliver the baby right there.
So, Ray, when you see your son there, what do you think?
I'm not surprised because he's every bit the man I knew he would be when he was born, and I'm proud. And he knows how proud I am of him, just like I am of all my kids. And I'm just, you know what? He makes me happy every day. He's my children are the thrill of my life, and the reason that I keep going are them. You know, and that's it.
That's right. So John, you were just on the Jennifer Hudson show. What was that all about? How'd you deal with that? That must have been exciting.
Yeah, that was an experience of a lifetime. Something I never, thought I'd ever do as a police officer for sure. They had, I guess, seen a story from the West Coast, where Robby is. They saw the article in People magazine, and the producer from the show reached out to my department and said they wanted to fly me out so I could tell the story basically to the world. And Jennifer Hudson hosted it, and she was just more than gracious and got to tell about all my adventures of baby delivering over the last 9 years of my career.
Wow.
Well, we have a little clip. We're going to show our viewers and listeners out there you on the Jennifer Hudson show last week. Let's check it out.
When you became a police officer, did you ever think that you would deliver so many babies?
No, I mean, we were sitting in the police academy, me and my buddies, we were seeing the video. They show you about, having a baby and what you would do in a situation like that. We're like, come on, we're not going to deliver a baby.
You just thought it would never happen,
Never
huh?
happen. And then the instructors at, Suffolk County, at Police Academy, they're like, it happens. It might be you.
Oh.
Didn't think it was going to be 5 times, but
Well, what was it like the first time?
So
when it
the
happened?
first time, I was working overnight. The baby you showed up on the screen, that was Bryce. He was born in his kitchen.
In his kitchen?
In his kitchen. His parents had a bag ready. They were ready to go to the hospital. They didn't make it. The baby came. They called 911. I showed up. The dad races outside. He's like, my baby's born, but he's not breathing. You need to do something.
Oh, my God.
So I'm like, okay, where's the paramedics? Where's the ambulance, like you said?
Yeah.
And I hear them coming, but they're not there yet. So I'm like, let's get inside and see what we're going to do here. We go in. Sure enough, the baby's turning blue. He's like, he hasn't taken a breath. What are we going to do? So now that training kicks in, I'm like, airway. You got to clear his airway. Give me something to clear his airway. He gives me I asked for a turkey baster first. I know we just went through Thanksgiving. He didn't have a turkey baster. He gets me a plastic syringe because he had a 2-year-old daughter. So I take the syringe, and I was able to suck the liquid out of the baby's airway, and then he took his first breath.
Oh, my God. That gave me chills.
So that
God
was
always
crazy.
got somebody, and that somebody is you. And you're the baby's godfather.
So a few months later, they called the department. They wanted to meet me, reunite, and then sure enough, they asked me to be his godfather.
Oh,
He's so cute.
so cute. And this just keeps happening to you.
So a few months later, I was like, all right, that's it. That's my one for my career. And then I'm at Dunkin' Donuts. I'm getting a cup of coffee, working overnight. Donut, too. And then I hear a call come over. Somebody's going into labor in their house, or they think they're about to. They said now they're leaving the house because they don't want to wait for the ambulance. So they start driving to the hospital. As I'm in Dunkin' Donuts, like, all right, somebody else is taking care of that. They're going. Then they're like, wait, they're pulling over on the side of the road. I'm like, wait, that is right around the corner from this Dunkin' Donuts. Let me take my coffee and go.
You took the coffee with
The
you?
coffee with me, and I...
Ain't that something? What about your donut? Did you take the donut?
I ate it already. And then I see them on the side of the road. The dad's waving me down, and we delivered that baby in the back seat of their car on the side of the road.
Aww. That's adorable.
That was number 2. Yep.
That was baby number 2.
Yeah.
Okay, what about baby 3 and 4?
The next ones were a little more, I guess, traditional. One was in the bedroom. I walk in. It was the dad, the mom, and the grandmother. The grandmother sees me, and she's like, this guy looks like he's 12 years old.
Yeah,
What's
because
he
he
gonna
looked
do?"
like a baby. Y'all see him?
So she's like, have you done this before? And I was like, this is number 3, so I think we're okay right now.
Oh, my God.
And it was smooth sailing. She's like, all right, this is the baby whisperer.
Wow. So you known as the baby. You don't have any babies, huh?
I don't have any babies.
Not
No,
at
just
all.
deliver, just practice delivering them.
Do you
That's it.
think they now know who to call for now?
I think so. It's like they're following me around, right?
Yeah. Okay, well, you recently delivered your 5th baby.
Yeah, so number 5 was pretty recent.
Like how recent? How recent?
Last week.
What?
Last week, yeah.
Last week?
Last week.
Oh my God.
Since number 4, I recently got promoted. I'm a sergeant now. I'm in the 7th.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So, taking a little different role. I'll listen up on the radio. I just see what's going on with my 4 or 5 cops that are under me that I, listen up for. The call comes over, possible labor. I'm like, this sounds familiar. So I'm like, let me start drifting in that area to where the house is.
So you don't even get nervous now. You drift towards.
Like, let me just go and take it smooth.
Okay.
Hey,
Wow.
isn't that crazy?
That's fantastic.
So, John, when you see that and your father's watching this proudly, amazing moment. 5 different babies at 5 different times on the police force. Unheard of.
Yeah, that's why I became a police officer, to make a difference, to help my community, to give back. I've seen my father do that through baseball and through the community. And doing it as a police officer gives me that same feeling. And I didn't know what was going to come my way and what, strangers I would embark on and come across. But it's been in the form of, delivering babies, or you might be changing a tire. But for me, this has been something that's followed me around my career now. And it's become, a really big part of why I go to work every day. It makes and making a difference.
Hey, and George Steinbrenner once told John Eric, because John and Ricky were both very close to the boss. And when the boss started the Silver Shield Foundation for police officers, he said to John Eric, hey, if you play baseball like your father, you better become a cop.
Hey, John Eric, I've got to chime in here because, first of all, I want to say God bless you, young man. I am so proud of you. And first of all, for your service, forget the babies, but for your service to the community and to our world, because, and I know times are not easy for policemen these days, but you wear the badge well, and you are a credit to your community. You are a credit to your family, and you're a credit to this whole country, for what you do.
Thank you. And my biggest thing in going on TV shows and talking to radio shows is just to let the world and the country know that police officers do this every day. I'm no different than any other cop that puts on a uniform, wears a badge, goes to work, worries about what's going to happen to them, hopes they come home safe to their family. This is what cops do. I'm no different than any other police officer out there. So, we need to really appreciate the service that our, police, fire, first responders do every day, every night. We wouldn't be able to live in the world that we do if it wasn't for them.
Amen. Amen. Steve, let me throw this out.
Yeah.
This guy, John Eric, he's like the natural on camera. I wonder where he gets that.
I wonder.
You're great, John Eric.
Thank you.
You're a
Must
TV.
be, the Hollywood star that are in my genes from this guy.
There we go. There we go. Very, very good. So, Ray, in final, what would you tell your son there publicly
Never change. Don't listen to anybody. Keep being who you are and keep believing in God the way he does, period.
Amen.
And exclamation point.
You've been doing a lot of things for 50 years in baseball. Right there is one of your proudest moments.
No, that's the biggest.
Yeah.
That's the biggest.
Fantastic.
Period. That's all for all four of them. And my daughter's going to have a baby in May, so I'm going to be a grandfather.
Wow.
Hey, maybe they could get John Eric in there.
Yeah, John will deliver the baby.
There we go. Well, John, I know you're very busy, so God bless you, sir. Thank you so very much. Have a great, great holiday season, and we'll be waiting for number 6.
You too, guys. Thanks so much for having me.
God bless.
Love
God
you.
bless.
Love you.
Okay, Ray, we surprised you, didn't we?
Oh, no, I was shocked.
Shocked.
I was
yes.
shocked.
Yes.
You know, because I spoke to him twice today. He never let on that he was coming on.
No.
You know, so
And he was a natural on camera, wasn't he? Did you watch him on that show? It's like
Yeah.
he'd been doing interviews his whole life.
Yeah.
I know.
He's been watching.
I know.
He's seen all you guys. You know, he's a big Frankie Valley guy.
Oh, I know. You know what? You have a wonderful family, man. You have the best kids.
Thank you, brother.
That's right. That's right. And Robby, I know your Frankie Valley tour has come to an end for 2022. How was the last stint?
Hey, we had some fun. I had fun hanging out with you guys, man.
Yeah.
That seems like 100 years ago, but that was just a few days ago.
Fort Myers, Barbara Mann Theater.
Robbie, I heard in Fort Lauderdale, you had a visit from William DeMeo, the producer director of the great show Gravesend. And,
Yes, I did. I should have sent you a picture of that.
Tell us a little bit about what happened.
William DeMeo, who is he's from The Sopranos, and he's a director, and he's a writer, and he's an actor, and he was in The Sopranos. He's been in a bunch of movies, and he has a show called. He is the star. He's the writer and director of a show called Gravesend, and it's really a very cool show.
Cool.
And he wanted to meet with Frankie to talk about having Frankie on upcoming next season, and also some of Frankie's music in the show. He is like a major Frankie fan, and he hung out with the show before and after, and he was a cool guy.
And Frankie introduced him. William told me that Frankie introduced him.
Yes, he did from the audience.
I thought that was so. All I can say is William was really, really happy when you guys did that. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. And we played, our last show was Saturday night in Hollywood, Florida at that casino. And we had 6,500 people at this show that night.
Wow.
And, we're looking at a picture for you listeners out there of Robbie Robinson, Ray Negron, Frankie Valley, and myself. And to break bread with Frankie Valley before a concert was amazing because we've done some work in the Fort Myers community.
Steve, you never should have gone there. So, Robbie, we're sitting down at the table.
Yeah.
We're having dinner.
Oh, here we go.
And then it was you, me, and Steve. We were sitting in the dining area there at the theater there and wherever the heck we were at Fort Myers. And all of a sudden, to Steve's surprise, the great Frankie Valley walks in.
Yeah.
And I have the sound effect of Steve. As Frankie walked in, Steve goes, "Wow, Frankie!" Yeah, take it easy, Steve.
Is that what really happened, right?
Take it easy,
really,
Steve.
Really. He had all day to
Take
think
it
about
easy,
what he was
Steve.
going to say to this. So I had to go there. But, Robbie, thank you so very much. It was a wonderful night. But let's switch gears a little bit because we have
Frankie!
This whole show is dedicated to the tryout. We're here on Tan Talk Radio Network, AM 1340, AM 1350, AM 1400, FM 106.1, and FM 104.3. If you want to join in, please do at 727-441-3000. But when I say Orestes Destrada, Ray, talk about him for a moment.
Orestes Destrada, I first met when he was a rookie, and they brought all the young players to New York, Yankee Stadium. And I met this big Cubano guy, left-handed hitter, and he was supposed to be like the next, he was supposed to be the Cuban Lou Gehrig. Okay?
That's a lot. Okay. That's a lot.
Power to spare, first baseman, nasty. I mean, it's like he was doing salsa around first base, okay?
Wow.
And at that point, we've been friends ever since. And I'm so proud of everything that he has accomplished in baseball, both in America and in Japan. And he's just one of the most intelligent guys that I've known, and just a good guy who's loved. He's so loved that, I'm not even going to go. He's loved. He's just loved. When he walks around the Trop, man, the people they faint.
He does a pre and post game for the Tampa Bay Rays. Baseball Legends Lounge, Major League Baseball channel every Wednesday, 1 p.m., channel 89 on XM. And the Big O is here in studio, man. God
I'll tell you what,
sir.
I'm going to carry you guys around me in my hip pocket.
Wow, the Big O in the studio.
Robbie, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man.
Before we get into baseball stuff, I got to tell you, I would have sounded just like Steve if Frankie Valli would have walked in. I am a huge.
Thank you.
I would have been like, Frankie, I called you, Frankie. I would have talked Spanish, Japanese. Nadie te entendió, Frankie. I love you very much. But and by the way, Frankie Valli was positively ahead of the curve in the Me Too moments back in the days of it. Because if you think about it, he had that song, My Eyes Adored You, but I never laid a hand on you, my eyes.
Who needs Frankie Valli?
He never laid a hand on them, but from afar, he adored them. So he was very smart. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, you sound good, Big O, there.
No, dude, I was a huge Frankie Valli fan as a kid, mainly because of my mother, Yaya, because she had a collection of certain people that she loved to listen to. One was Frankie Valli. The other one was Nat King Cole and Julio Iglesias, and a guy by the name of, Charles Aznavour, right?
Yeah,
so these are old school guys that I grew up, listening in my house on 33s, right? And albums. And as I grew up in the late 70s, 80s as a teenager and as an adult, those guys have stayed in my heart and in my passion. So music is very, very big to me, and it takes me to places. And I think the beauty of music, and it even applies to baseball and sports, you can tie it together. It takes you places. You know what I mean? You remember, you hear a song, and I remember where I was playing at, or what game, or something ties into that. And I can't say enough about the great Frankie Valli.
And the crazy thing is, Frankie Valli, you mentioned all those old timers. Frankie Valli is only 88 years old now, but he's still touring. We've got a whole tour scheduled next year again.
Oh, no, it's beautiful. And I got to make it to one of these spots now next year. And that I'm got, Lord willing, I'll be there if Ray Negron picks up the phone.
You have to be there in February. Frankie and Robby are doing two nights at Vaccaro.
Oh, it's done.
Okay.
Done. I'm there. Lord willing, I am there. And I'll get a chance to finally meet him in person and do a great Steve impersonation. Frankie.
I got the Ray Negron of Tampa with me here. Ray Negron now it's like stereo.
Hey, you're the Oreo of the cookie here, baby.
We did this show, the tryout, which we're going to talk about. At the beginning of it, O called me legendary psychologist. At the end, we're filming. It's legendary.
No, I called it. No, not in your own mind. No, I was telling the kids, and I said, you got to listen to this guy because he will be a legend in your own mind. So he will help you. And the bottom line, and it kind of ties into our great, reality show that was created, and it was bigger than I thought it would be. A lot of baseball is between your head. So more than any sport. So I was kind of trying to, as you were mentoring to the kids, I was telling them, listen to this guy because he's going to help you get from day one. I told them that when we first started at Bradenton, at the great house that they had him live at, I said, this is going to be an on-field and off-field experience for you guys. Right. And sure enough, it was true because, in the end, and we won't give away won't be a spoiler here, Ray, but you would admit that there was players that in the end struggled, mightily with the mental game that it showed us the physical game earlier on. So I think the audience is going to love the dichotomy of how those episodes are going to develop because, initially maybe they might go like, oh, wow, this guy, that guy. And somehow I think, the ones that I think you're going to see and be surprised you had the physical, but they were able to mentally, overcome the pressures that we created for them day by day, because we definitely put them under the gun.
We do this show Bat Boy for the last couple of years, kind of, highlighting Ray's life with the Yankees, with his family.
How cool is that?
And we have a video of you talking about your roots and how you came up. We want to show our listeners and viewers out there a little bit about your background, and maybe we can chat about that in a minute. Let's check this out.
Here's Destrade with a long one. Way back. Home run!
I was born in Cuba in Santiago in 62 and came over in 68. I've never been back. There's this hunger for me to really just go to where I'm from, go to, and touch and feel and see what my life came from, where my parents were born.
We left January 28th. You left Cuba at 5 years old, 4 months before turning 6.
5 years old.
¿Qué te acuerdas de?
What do you remember about the U.S.? The first time and the impact of the decision you made?
Al principio fue un poquito duro.
Well, at the beginning it was hard because I left behind family members in Cuba,
Really the difficult part.
and your father left his mother behind. That was very difficult.
New Year's Day, 1959, the revolution, the maña is, the trick that was Castro's taking over and proposing this ideology of democracy. And it wasn't to be. After 59, he partners with Russia and then explains that he is going to be a communist state.
You were named after your uncle Orestes, who was captured during the Bay of Pigs invasion. He was incarcerated, and we didn't know if he was going to be executed or kept as a prisoner. So we named you Orestes to honor him and keep the name in the family.
Soon I will be there, Mama. I've never tried to go to Cuba until now. And now I'm, at the precipice of it, and I'm pulling my hair out. Con esa gira, coño, yo porque di 2 o 3 palabritas en un reportaje, no sé si eso lo que hay slowed everything down. So it's very, very disheartening to hear the actual Cuban born in the party is the one that has the bigger trouble getting in, ironically. So I don't know what to think or what to say.
Wow, that's powerful.
It was to explain a bit of that documentary, and that was done in 2016, right at the same time as President Obama was going to Cuba. The Rays were picked to go to Cuba and play that infamous game. Yeah. Fox LA had decided to do a documentary. Initially, they approached me about being involved with it, narrating it, and also going with them to Cuba. Separate from the Rays going, okay? This is 2 different trips. So we were going to go before the Rays went in March. We were going to go in late February. And I said no at first, to be honest with you, because I had been staunch about not going to my Cuba until both Castros were deceased. And that being the president, Fidel Castro, who passed away a few years ago, and then at the time, still President Raul Castro, who now is, figuratively still the figurehead, even though he's retired and he's almost 90 years old, still kind of, for me, that is the revolution. That is the tie that binds, the regime that I abhor, okay? So what happened was, all of a sudden, they said, please, will you please go? We go. I'll never forget it. It was Thanksgiving the year before in 15. I agreed. I talked to my parents and I said, I'm going to go. And it was reluctant because I wanted to go to a freer Cuba, or at least a Cuba with both those Castros underground. So lo and behold, we're filming
and I'm taping, and I just finished interviewing. We went to Miami and interviewed a bunch of different people. They're interviewing myself, stuff, and we have a camera crew, just like when we were shooting last week. And we're at Panera Bread. We had just finished, interviewing Cookie Rojas, the great Octavio Cookie Rojas, one of the Cuban legends of yesteryear.
Kansas City.
And we're Kansas City, Philadelphia Phillies, a mentor of mine, a third base coach with the Florida Marlins when I was, with the Marlins, and also a Winter League coach. I mean, I just grew up with Cookie and all his kids. Long story short, great interview. We're going to go on to interview a guy by the name of Gallo Rodriguez, Eddie Rodriguez, who was almost basically Alex Rodriguez's surrogate dad. And he was the head guy at the Boys and Girls Club, right? So while we're waiting there having lunch, we get a call from Cuba informing us that I was not going to be allowed. They were not going to give me a visa. The reason that they didn't give me a visa, a few years earlier, when I was doing the WBC coverage, I did a game with Oral Hershiser and Gary Thorne. It was a 3-man booth in Puerto Rico, and it was Cuba versus Dominican Republic. And Gary Thorne asked me, if you never came over to Cuba, to the United States, what have you done? I said, I would have tried to escape just like everybody else, just like Jose Contreras and El Duque and Kendrys Morales and you name it. I would have tried to continuously escape that regime because they hold people back and it's unfair, right? And because I would have wanted to have played at the highest level possible. So they hold people back from doing that. Lo and behold, for that reason, years later, that was in 2009. Right. So you fast forward to 16, they slapped my wrist, and the only one of that crew, there was about 10 of us, 9 Americans, 1 Cuban American was the one that was not allowed to go back to Cuba. Just the night before we were supposed to leave. Wow. That was true reality TV. Amazing. In that documentary. And we continued on. I made the documentary. We finished it. I finished it from my side here. And I think it's a great documentary. You can catch it on Vimeo. Is Cuba Behind the Veil, Cuba Baseball Behind the Veil. And we really kind of created the plus and minus of what's really going on in Cuba and what, we had some agents like Jose, Joe Cuba and some of these guys, who really knew how they escaped some of these players. Because remember, and without staying on this too long, remember, the reason Cuba wanted to ingratiate Washington and Obama and the government is because there's an embargo on Cuba from our side, from America's side. So they wanted to soften the ropes. So then when these players, they don't have to escape. Because when they escape, what does the Cuban regime get?
Nothing.
Zero.
Nothing, yeah.
And there's $30, $40, $60 million contracts.
Right.
When if they are open the door and say, hey, come on in, guys, and we'll let you scout these players like it's, Dominican Republic or Venezuela or Panama, and then we'll give you a cut deal and you deal with us like China does and Russia does with their athletes. Like Yao Ming didn't negotiate his own deal with an agent. It was the Chinese sports ministry. So that was what was trying to happen at that point. It didn't happen. I'm thankful it didn't, to be honest with you. Whatever political side you're on, doesn't matter. I just didn't want that to happen. Right. And subsequently, that's kind of what happened. And then I'm a proud Cuban American. And one day, I will take that trip over there. And one day, those players will truly be able to come and go.
Well, we'll go together.
Yeah, man. I
haven't been there since 59.
Right. Well, mine was 68. So
wow.
So I'm looking forward to it, man. And it's an interesting dichotomy of the Cuban being only 90 miles from us.
Well, this is Reach Out on Tan Talk Network, Radio Network, AM 1340, AM 1350, AM 1400, FM 106.1. and FM 104.3. If you want to join in, please do. It's 727-441-3000. We're talking to Orestes Estrada, pre- and post-game for the Tampa Bay Rays. And now I got to ask you one question. First of all, you do a lot of mentoring with young people, and we saw it at the tryout. And before you answer that, we have a little video and you doing instructional to some of these kids last week. Let's check that out for a moment.
In front of the plate, they're not hitting it unless it's now. Ahora, you can work with this thing if it was going to be outside pitch. I'm going to do, and I'm going to be here, so I'm getting a slider away. Now I'm hitting it like that, ¿viste? But it's a different swing. Toma más.
buddy came up with it right before COVID, and we manufactured in China. I work in the state of credit. It's not. I think they said because Yeah,
Very
sure.
cool.
So that's one of our prized contenders on the show, Eddie. And I think the fans are going to really enjoy watching him and his development because, again, he was very passionate. One of the things, and Ray, I think you'd agree, man, and Steve, who dealt with them, from the mind side, these were kids that were passionate. And as we got down to, let's say, our top 10, my gosh, they were hungry, bro. And there was what I loved, and I've gotten the combination of tutoring and being around Latinos in Miami, down in, in Calle Ocho and all that, and the craziness. I've also with American kids in, all American, wherever you want to be, in California and doing, clinics there. And then I've also tutored in Japan. And one of the things that I loved about Japan is that, man, they are like this, right? They say, line up. There's no, that's what I felt. Yeah, they're regimented, Robbie. And that's what I felt with these kids. These kids that we had in the tryout truly realized that this was their last chance. This was a chance from the heavens that was given and laid down like manna. You know what I mean? And you better eat, brother, because if not, this is it. So when I spoke, or when Ray spoke, or when Wade Boggs spoke, or when Steve spoke, the thing that I loved of most, if not all of that, especially when we got down to that dirty dozen, 10 or so, it was like this. They were like, okay, yes, sir. And that was lovely, man. And it's the way it should be, because if you're getting some cocky guys, and we had a couple, one or two of those, they weren't the ones that I think were going to finish in the end.
Well, let me chime in on that for a second, because I see a parallel in music and sports, and baseball, in that regard. If you're hungry, and it also goes to what you talked about earlier about the psychological part of the game and the psychological. There are people with talent in music. There are people with talent in sports and baseball. First of all, the psychology of it is a big part of it. There's a difference between a guy who's, even if you're at the top of the food chain, if you're Magic Johnson, so to speak, and you're a winner, and you know how to win, and you know what it takes to become a winner. But when you're hungry, that's the thing that's going to drive anybody to become successful in music or to become successful in sports.
Well, let me ask you, Robbie, what is in general? We're not talking about Celine Dion and Mariah Carey and the Michael Jacksons and the Frankie Vallis. In general, a very good pro singer, what are the difference from the ones that don't make it to be pro singers? It's totally being hungry. It's not that much, right?
Oh, it's not that much.
You can hear them one day, you can hear somebody one day, and you go like, I've heard some people, and I go like, how come you're not a professional singer?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of, we ran across that with our contenders, and it was very interesting. And that's the beauty in the last, I'd say 10, 15, maybe even going farther back 20 years of reality show meeting hunger in certain, talents, right? Shall we say, whether it's dancing, singing, and now we're creating something in the sports world that has never been done before.
By the way, this is a brilliant model. The concept of the tryout is absolutely brilliant. I don't know if that was Steve or if that was Ray's brilliance, but somebody was a genius who came up with that idea.
Ray, jump on it.
I'm not going to brag.
But brag. That's why I'm calling your name out, son.
Wow.
Look, this is something that was in the works for quite a while. Armando Gutierrez is the one that actually came up with this concept in 2019. And we did this with Gene Michael.
Right.
Okay, who
the
was
late but great.
One of the greatest scouts of all time.
Right.
And Gene was supposed to be our leader. And unfortunately, we lost Gene during the pandemic. And so now we honor Gene by doing this show, So Armando, I'm grateful to Armando for fighting to get this thing done.
And I'm going to be honest, Rob, and Steve and everybody listening and Ray, I was
No, but let me just stop.
I was
Hold up,
skeptical
I just wanna
how
say,
it was going to be.
I don't care whether you were or you wasn't. The bottom line was the first player that I called was Orestes Destrada.
Well, thank you very much.
Right or wrong?
Right? Yes, it was. Yes,
Right
it
or
was,
wrong.
and that's including a Hall of Famer and
That's
Wade
right.
Boggs.
That's right. No more than what Michael Jackson. That's right. That's
But
right.
Wade did an incredible job as basically, being the stick Michael. I would say that Wade was just filled those shoes. My angle on it was a little bit Simon Cowell-ish, but also, mentoring. You have to be a little tough. But I will say I walked in a bit like excited, but also skeptical. How are we really going to pull this off? Because in the end, I always talk about the 2 P's, perception and production. If in any world of talent, you have to have perception. You have to create some interesting thing, right? Whatever you're a singer, or something that you do, or a tone that you hit. In sports, the same. In the world of business, the same. But in the end, it's production. So I knew the perception, the concept was like fantastic. And I'm like, man, are we going to be able to fulfill this? Including my own talent. Like, am I going to be able to be a good judge? Brother, I can't wait to see the final edit and stuff, because it felt, Rob, I'm going to tell you, it felt natural. It wasn't pushed to creation. And these guys were hungry and also, by the way, productive and talented enough. And I'll give you just a small little spoiler in the sense that multiple guys could have easily have won that contest. I'm going to tell you, not just one.
Wow.
Well, and Ray, we have another whole hour to talk about the tryout, and want to get back to that. But before the top of the hour, our news. Robby, you did Jamming for Jesus for 31 years in a row, and we have a little video. If you could segue us before taking us to the top of the hour.
Well, by the way, Big O, this was last night. We played last night. We did the 31st annual Jam for Jesus, and I have the biggest, some of the great world-class musicians all on the same stage at the same time, and we have a few clips from, here's a clip of us singing the theme song to Jam for Jesus, called Jam for Jesus. The singers are the great Sarah Nimitz, who this audience knows as an international star. Alex Nestor, who is also a world-class singer, has played with everybody from Santana on, and the singer and the other lead singer is Warren Ham, who has sung with everybody from Olivia Newton-John to he now is in the band with Ringo and his All Stars. And this is from last night. Check it out.
Jam for Jesus. Where do we begin? Jam for Jesus. Let the Spirit in. What the Master do? If you took a mighty swing and did it all through. Jam for Jesus. Jam for Jesus. Let the Spirit in. Jam for Jesus. Get it to believe. Jam for Jesus. See what we can see. What would the Somebody say amen. Let me hear you say it.
Woo!
Yeah, that was
awesome.
a lot of fun.
Robbie, great job.
Wow.
When you see those
Roberto!
come together.
Roberto, you the man, baby. You the man.
We're not worthy.
Everybody up on that stage. This goes back to what we were talking about before. Are world class. I mean, you got guys from the band Earth, Wind, and Fire, from the band Chicago. You got guys from Stevie Wonder's band. You got the young percussionist is on dance. He's the Dancing with the Stars. That's us praying before the show.
Excellent.
Nice.
But each one of these guys, they love what they do, but they're all tenacious enough to pursue what their dream is, and they've all been very, very successful. Phil Collins band,
31 years.
Hey, and Robbie, I want to tell the Big O, because he is such a big Frankie Valli fan.
Huge.
When my mom died, Robbie and Frankie had the whole band, and we were on Broadway. We were on Broadway. Yeah. Oh, there it is.
Get out of here.
And they prayed for my mom.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And it was. Let me tell you something. I after the prayer, I went to the audience. And when they started to do My Eyes Adored You, I had to leave.
I bet.
I had to leave. I left.
Yeah.
That was the second song that day, and I left.
Yeah.
You know,
and there's a connection with Frankie Valli and what you were talking about earlier. You're talking about being hungry and about the psychological thing. Frankie Valli, no matter what field of endeavor he wanted to pursue, I mean, this guy grew up dirt poor. You know, he lived in a cold water flat. When he was a kid, they moved up to the project.
Robbie, we got to take a news break. Top of the hour. We have a whole nother hour. Stay with us on Reach Out.
Hold that story.
FM 106.1.
WDCF, Dade City.
FM 102.3.
WZHR, Zephyr Hills.
FM 104.3.
Listen.
By Dell Small Business.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper in Chicago. A severe winter weather threat stretches across the U.S. with ongoing tornado alerts in the south. At least 3 people have died in Louisiana. Cambry McMichael lives in a heavily damaged Farmerville.
I seen a tree come down, and the power line had come down with it.
Snow and ice slam portions of the Midwest in Duluth, Minnesota.
Stay ahead of the snow because we're, I think, supposed to be getting a lot more of it. It's about 2 steps forward, 1 step back with it still coming down.
The Federal Reserve hikes its key interest rate by a 0.5 percentage point, less than the previous 0.75 of a percentage point. Javier David with Axios.
The bottom line is everything is going up. The Fed is watching this. The Fed is very concerned. The Fed has indicated that they have absolutely no intention of stopping until they feel the job is done.
Border officials say they're bracing for an increase in immigration when Trump-era restrictions, known as Title 42, are lifted December 21st. Drug enforcement agents are worried about the possibility of an increase in drugs, such as fentanyl, being smuggled across the border at the same time. Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco tells CBS's Nora O'Donnell how they're tackling the issue.
We're using intelligence. We are using cyber means. We are using informants. We're using data to map the network and then attack it at all points along the supply chain.
Outgoing Oregon Governor Kate Brown will commute all remaining death sentences to life in prison before she leaves office. KXL's Annette Newell reports.
Brown says her decision applies to all 17 people on Oregon's death row.
Doesn't make sense for the state to take a life.
Many agree with her, like the Reverend Dr. Crystal Walker, who tells us an eye for an eye doesn't end the grieving.
The death penalty will not bring closure. The death penalty is not going to bring retribution.
But others disagree. One longtime district attorney calls it a betrayal of the moral contract with the citizens of Oregon.
Mississippi has just executed a man for the rape and murder of a 16-year-old girl more than 20 years ago. 58-year-old Thomas Edwin Loden Jr. was one of 5 death row inmates suing Mississippi over its lethal injection protocol. Peru's new government declares a police state amid protests after the ouster of President Pedro Castillo. BBC correspondent Katie Watkins.
Defense Minister Alberto Torrola said a state of emergency was necessary to keep the peace and ensure the safety of Peruvians. It means that soldiers will be able to help police in maintaining public security. President Dina Boluarte, who was sworn in after Mr. Castillo was removed, has called for calm and said elections could be moved forward in an effort to ease the political crisis.
On Wall Street today, the Dow closed down 142 points. This is CBS News.
Dell Technologies' Days of Deals start now with specials on select business PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Call 877-ASK-DELL.
Hello, this is Prior Smith speaking from Toronto. 68 years and counting. Canada Calling. The news from home for vacationing Canadians is back for its 68th winter season beginning Monday, January 2nd. Join me here on WTAN, Clearwater, Dunedin, 1340 AM and 106.1 FM. On WDCF in Dade City at 1350 and 102.3. And WZHR in Zephyr Hills, 1400 and 104.3. Canada Calling here on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Are you a writer, inventor? Do you have questions about your intellectual property rights? Well, tune in every Tuesday and Thursday morning at 11 o'clock for Joy on Paper. Once a month, I will have a special guest, the writer's legal eagle, Bill Larson of Larson & Larson, who can answer your questions. Protect your valuable work. Email me your questions to patsy.radio@gmail.com and then listen in every Tuesday and Thursday at 11 a.m. right here on Tampa Bay's Tan Talk Radio Network. That's patsy.radio@gmail.com.
Show me the money. It's the Employment Opportunity Hour with Gene Hodge every Thursday night from 7 until 8.
So the purpose of the show is to help you out there to find something that you enjoy doing instead of a job. And at the start of the show, I normally give out a formula, which I know will guarantee you to find the type of job that you want right now.
Find out the formula to an enjoyable job with Gene Hodge's Employment Opportunity Hour every Thursday night from 7 until 8 here on the Tan Talk Radio Network. Show me the money.
Hey Tampa Bay, Tammy here with the BCC Coupon Book. Tune in during drive time every Thursday, 5 to 6 p.m. on the Tan Talk Radio Network to hear the BCC Coupon Book radio show. We feature local small business owners with great deals for many services and restaurants in our listening area. And anyone interested in branding your business and getting your name out there, give us a call at the BCC Coupon Book, 727-804-6082. Have a great day, Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay's Tan Talk, entertaining and informative radio for the Sunshine State.
You're listening to the radio. People all over the world.
The downtown trains are full of all them Brooklyn girls. They took the midnight train going anywhere.
He's leaving on that midnight train to Georgia. Leaving on the midnight train. Baby, on the downtown train. Come on, baby, let's go listen to the night train. Come on, baby. Chugga, motion like a railroad train now. I'm going off the rails on a crazy train. I'm going off the rails on a crazy train.
Sounds like the chapters wrap.
Hey, you! This is Dance Reaction. Let's go to the disco by train. Have a nice trip. I'm on a train. I met a dame. She was a heifer on a rocker thing. She was pretty from New York City. The train kept me rolling all night long. The train kept me rolling all night long. The train kept me rolling all night long. West train to London. Just heading out.
Come on, ride the train and ride it. Come on, ride the train and shoot and ride it. Come on, ride the train and shoot and ride it. Come on, ride the train and shoot and ride it. Come on, ride the train and shoot and ride it.
your ticket. Don't you miss it?
Don't touch that dial. The Chapters Wrap with psychologist Steve Vaccaro starts now.
The Chapters Wrap. It's the second hour reach out, but we have to give props to Bobby behind the glass because Bobby is the man who put that together.
What a mix.
What a mix, right?
Talk about nostalgia.
Bobby! Yeah, we got dancing here in the studio.
I was just going back in time.
There you go.
You dropped the locomotion on me.
That's right. Bobby and Robby.
Every train song on the internet.
Yeah, every train song you can find, dude.
But my goal one time is to interview the OJs, man. They great Motown. If we could ever get the OJs in the studio somewhere.
I met them at the Trop, by the way.
Really?
They actually played at the Trop back in the day.
His favorite group is the OJs.
Oh, I've got to be.
His all-time favorite group.
Money, 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 money.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Money.
Hey, and let me just say this. Oh, you're going to love this.
Yes, sir.
You know who Robbie Robertson has worked with in the past?
Tell me.
Jimi Hendrix.
No, come on now.
Ask him.
Well, now, that's not exactly fair.
You taught him everything he knew.
Tell us the story. Let us know.
Well, the story is I did a record with Jimi Hendrix, but Jimi Hendrix was already dead because they had already – it was somebody who was producing a record of old tracks, and they wanted to add me on the Hammond organ for it. So that's what that's all about. I can tell
Robbie,
you where – yeah.
I've got a picture of me strumming Jimi Hendrix guitar. One of his, the first one that he got most famous with.
Wow.
Yeah, a friend of mine who is a son-in-law with the DeBartolos. I was over at his house, and he has a collection of.
Wow.
You would thoroughly enjoy it. We're talking. He's got, John Lennon's, electric guitar and just crazy stuff that he's got in his. We're talking millions of dollars and he showed me, but he's a lefty. I think he was a lefty.
Yeah, he was a lefty, but he played a right-handed guitar.
But he played a right-handed guitar. He explained that to me, and I found it fascinating. So that's a great one.
He was in the band, by the way, with our mutual friend who's been on this show many times, Joey D. from Joey D. and the Starlighters.
Florida area. Yes.
Jimi Hendrix was in Joey D.'s band.
Holy cow.
Wow. Well, this second hour reach out is all about the tryout, and we're on Tan Talk Radio Network, AM 1340, AM 1350, AM 1400, FM 106.1, and FM 104.3. And I'm being told FM 102.3 and AM 1350 are the home of the Tampa Bay Rays right here.
Wow. Yeah. Some of the homes of Tampa Bay Rays.
And one of the great voices of the Tampa Rays.
Hello.
Orestes Estrada de Botena.
Hello. I'm reloading.
We got two guests here in studio, but before we bring them on, I have to ask this question. I haven't asked this to you.
Tell me.
You learned Japanese.
How
is that hard for you?
Believe it or not, and I need to take one of my dearest friends in the world of baseball and just outside of baseball, and Ray Negron, to Japan with me one day. And you may have been. I think you've been. I think you went in 2004.
I worked for Tokyo for 3 years.
Right. But I need to take you and walk you walk with me.
Well, just like I'm all the geisha girls.
Well, take you to the proper places. But regardless, you'd be surprised because Japanese is very phonetically similar. Unlike any of the other Asian languages, they're Mandarin type sing-songy kind of, ni hao ma, Chinese, Mandarin, Taiwanese, Vietnamese, or Korean. Japanese phonetically is very similar to Spanish.
Okay.
So it actually, the A-E-I-O-U, it's more vowels. Arigato. Don't itashimashite. It ends in A-E-I-O-U. So I was able.
Easier for you.
Easier for me. Believe it or not, I ushered in an era that before me, it was Roy White was going over there.
Right.
Bill Madlock, Bob Horner, Davey Johnson. They were signing American players in the 70s and 80s.
Well, you know who I sent over there?
Who?
Jesse Barfield.
Lloyd
Mosby.
Yeah.
Mickey Brantley.
Yeah. But I'm saying what happened is that they started, believe it or not, in the late 80s and early 90s, they realized that the Latino ball players were assimilating and acclimating to the language quicker. And if you acclimate to a language, you can in the culture, it's easier when you get between the lines.
Robbie, real quick. Orestes was one of the biggest gaijins.
Gaijins, they retired my number.
Go over there.
Yeah.
The popularity.
They wrote a book about me.
was unbelievable. I was
Wow.
tired when I went over there. I was tired of hearing about him. I didn't want to hear about him.
So what was it like? What was it like playing over there, Orestes?
It was great. I mean, I was with the right team. In fact, I was just earlier today, Robbie. I was with my one of my Japanese reps that came in town to visit and talk about next year and some of the plans we have. But long story, I was with the right team because in anything, in any again walk of life, if you're with the right band and the right group and the right songwriter, I was with the right group and songwriter. The Cebu Lions at the time were just massive, and we won back-to-back titles, which hasn't been done again. We won in 90, 91, 92, and a three-peat, and I was MVP and Tokyo Sportsman of the Year with Midori Ito, the Olympian. And it was just a wild ride that I hit it right. And with the right team and the right production by me. But a quick story about Reggie. You know how much I love Reggie, right? You know Reggie's my guy. So do you remember the game? You were there. So Rob was pitching his first game at the time. It wasn't Mr. Steinbrenner Stadium yet because he hadn't passed away.
Right, Legends Field.
It was Legends Field. May he rest his soul and the boss man. And Legends Field, Rob was throwing his first game, 100-mile-an-hour guy, all that stuff. So a slew of Yankee press are there, Yankee brass, Ray Negron's there, Roy White's sitting there, Stick Michael, Reggie Jackson's at the end. I'm sitting in the front, a couple of seats in front of Reggie. Here comes the Japanese media, and all of a sudden they start panning on me, left and right, and they're panning on me, and I'm retired from Japan at the time, right? Just recently retired, and Reggie goes, I can hear him say, he goes, man, they must think Big O, they're confused. They must think Big O is me. And Roy White, with the deep voice, Reggie, no, you're not wrong, Reggie. I mean, you're wrong, Reggie. They know it's Big O. He's more popular than you in Japan.
Why did you say that?
He was not digging that, was he?
We can sit here all night talking about baseball, but we're here for the tryout. We got two other guests here in studio, Joe and Aris.
Leave them on.
No, we got to get them on. Fellas, can you join the show with us right now, man? How you guys doing?
Wow.
Super Joe.
Doing great. Thank you.
And Aris, how's it going, man?
I'm still dreaming, man.
You're still dreaming. Joe,
Dreaming, baby, dreaming.
Yeah, Joe, talk about your entree with the Yankees back in the 70s.
Well, talked about good timing. I was very blessed to get the opportunity to throw batting practice 1977, 78. 2 good years. You won the World Series both years. And 45 years ago, I had the honor and pleasure of meeting Ray Negron in the clubhouse, and we've been friends ever since. Things happen. My first boss was actually Bobby Cox. He took me out to the stadium before BP, and I had to throw off the mound to Bobby, and he said, "You'll do fine."
Audition.
Yeah, that was my audition. Exactly.
In Yankee Stadium.
In Yankee Stadium. I remember it was a Sunday morning. The stands were empty except some of the concessionaires were in the bleachers getting their instructions, but no fans in the stands yet. And he said, "You'll do fine." And then he told me what time I would throw and to be in the outfield shagging.
I know how nervous I was my first game in Yankee Stadium. How nervous were you throwing BP, knowing that you were throwing to the legendary Thurman Munson and Reggie and that whole cast? Were you a little bit nervous that and to throw it all?
I changed his pamper twice.
Oh yeah.
And being around those guys, and knowing that this is a legendary team.
I grew up in the Bronx. So I was a Yankee fan. Wow. My dad was a Yankee fan, passed it on to me. And given the opportunity that I had, it was actually, I can tell you what happened. I played for the University of South Florida, and our scorekeeper, and she did radio work. Her name was Pam Jones, but she was Pam Boucher on the air because she got a job with the Yankees, and she had told Bobby Cox about me that I was in the area and that if they ever needed a BP pitcher. And Timing was everything. Somebody had left, and they needed another right-hander. And I was playing summer ball. I had already graduated and
awesome.
24 years old. Given the opportunity, being a Bronx guy, to throw BP, it was wonderful.
Let me prop this guy up, Robbie. So in the show, the tryout, with his background that you just heard, he's got a rubber arm. He can throw BP. Yeah. These guys are very important to major league teams. To have a guy that can throw batting practice every day. You have a 10-day homestand, you're counting on Super Joe to throw batting practice to you every day, right?
Yeah.
Well, we needed a batting practice pitcher, and I abused him. You know what I mean? I had him out there in the first day with 17 guys that were hitting at one time, and they were going to hit a minute each. We hit in the cages, so I had him throwing left and right. I felt bad. My back hurt watching him throw. That's how bad it was.
All right, then we got to move it forward. Aris, you threw batting practice and pitched to these contestants the other day during the week. Amazing experience. And you also caught Nestor Cortez. How was that experience for you?
Let me just say this. Aris came on. I hired Aris and Joe to throw BP. That was it. They were supposed to both throw BP. But then what happened was Aris got greedy on us. He wanted to be a contestant because he still has this damn dream. He thinks that at 63, he can still play in the major leagues. Okay?
Hey, he can do it.
So I told the producer said, you know what? Make him a contestant.
There we
So
go.
that in turn threw it on Joe to have to throw to
More
all the
people.
guys.
Yeah. We were one down.
All right, now you can take it from there.
So, Aris, before we get there, you pitched to Wade Boggs. Let's see what happened when you pitched to Wade Boggs real quick.
Oh, we got a little clip of that?
We got a little clip of that.
Oh! God, 1,000 of those.
He had 3,000.
What do you think, Aris?
He now has 3,041 career hits. My man, when he got up to that plate, when these guys get up, like you mentioned Tim pitching to Munson, you're totally focused on the strike zone in a situation like that because you don't want to hit the guy. You don't want to hit the guy. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
And it dwelled on me after he stepped out of the box. Like, what the hell just happened?
Ray, is this guy arguably, top 10 greatest Yankee fan in the United States of America right now?
No, Aris?
Yeah.
He used to be.
What? What happened?
He used to be. He is no longer one of the great Yankee. He's a great one of the great
But he
baseball
fell out of favor as being the.
No, you know what it is?
What happened? What happened,
around,
Aris?
I'm around these players so much. It's like in New York, it's hard to root against David Wright. That's my man right there. Andy Chavez.
So you jumped over you went over to the Mets for a little while.
No.
Is that what you're trying to tell us?
Pedroia, Boston Red Sox. I knew that kid since he was 16.
No, you can't do that.
Hard.
No, you can't do that. No, that's not.
Now,
that's
come
not-
on. Hey, Aris,
Aris,
I thought you were a Dodger fan now.
Say again?
Oh, wait. You
Aris,
didn't say that, Robbie.
I thought you were a Dodger fan now.
I'm around these players so
Come
much,
on, boys.
man.
This is not all New York.
Robbie, what happened with Aris is because of his friendship with Hank Steinbrenner, because they had a very close friendship, they were best friends.
No doubt.
He became corporate.
Oh, he went corporate on
He
us.
went corporate. and his
So
career
now
was
it's
like-
kind of just it's muddled. It's muddled. It's not what it used to be.
Exactly.
That's right. Well, you know what? We can't hold out any
Nothing
longer.
could be further from the truth.
Hold up, guys.
I don't even know how to spell corporate.
Hold up, guys. We have Gracie Cashman. Who's
No.
Yes, Ray, don't start, Ray.
She
Don't
did
start.
an amazing job here.
No,
And
she was like our boss, and she was bossing us around.
I know.
A little bit.
Well, she did my booty. She did a great job bossing all of us around.
She did a great job.
Yeah,
Tinkerbell.
Gracie.
Tinkerbell.
There she is.
There she is. Welcome, Gracie.
I thought we got rid of her already.
We gotta see her again. We love her.
Sorry, my
Gracie.
Hi.
How you doing?
Oh, you didn't hear all that, right, Gracie?
I heard
Did you
it
have your-
all.
Oh,
I was kidding. I was kidding.
So, Gracie, talk about the tryout. We've been filming, and you're leading the way. You've been interviewing so many people, all the contestants and the candidates from New York and Florida. Talk about that experience and why you wanted to do this project.
I think it's great. I mean, I wanted to do the project. My brother plays baseball, and I saw the pilot that Armando sent to me probably about a year ago, and I thought it was, my producer hat went on, and I said that this is just the best idea for a reality TV show. It kind of blends everything. You get sports, you get reality. It's great. Every member of the family can sit down and watch it. But on like a more heartfelt level, I watched my brother struggle to stay in the game when COVID hit. You know, the MLB draft got smaller, the NCAA had blackouts for recruiting. And so if you hadn't commit to a college when you were in like 8th grade, it became really, really, really difficult to continue to play baseball. And that just seemed so unfair. And then when I saw the pilot, I said, we have an opportunity to help kids that are in that situation and help people that were maybe in that situation years ago and would love to get back in the game. You know, you never know. Like it seems so unjust that if you're not at your peak performance when you're 18 and not in the financial situation when you're 18 years old to pursue a career in baseball, that you just don't ever get to do it. So it was a great opportunity for us to give everyone a chance and to at least feel like they felt like they had the opportunity. And no boy can ever again tell me in a bar that if they hadn't torn their ACL when they were
Go online and log in.
That is so funny. Gracie, talk about how it was to be the boss for your father, Brian Cashman, for the week.
That was a fun experience. I loved being able to tell him that I was in charge, and it was definitely good. I mean, I think you can ask him. I think that I'm in charge most of the time, but it was nice that now it was official on set.
Supposedly, I think she was the final deal for the Aaron Judge deal. If it didn't go through her, I don't think that deal would have gone done.
Great job, Gracie.
Now, Gracie, your father loved Gene Michael, who was a true mentor to him. When we first did the original pilot for this show in 2018, I think it was, Gene Michael was the leader of the pack. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, we lost Gene during the pandemic. And how do you, and you know, we're dedicating this show to Gene Michael. I mean, how do you feel about that aspect of it?
I think it's a really great way to honor his memory. He was a big part of my life, obviously, as someone that was such a big part of my dad's life. He had such a big influence on my dad and, you know, in turn on me. So I think that it's awesome that obviously it's tragic that he's not with us anymore, but it's nice that we can honor his memory with something that he was passionate about and involved in, and that we can kind of continue on helping kids have the opportunity to pursue baseball, which was one of his biggest passions.
Right. Very good.
Well, before we go any further, we're going to take telephone calls, 727-441-3000. And we have Sam Militello on the line, who is one of the University of Tampa coach for the last 23 years.
But he was a Yankee.
And the Yankee, great pitcher there
Tampa
back
legend.
in the day. There you go. So, Sam, are you there on the line there, sir?
I'm here.
Thank you very much for joining us here on Reach Out. We have the Big O, we have Joe and Aris and Ray and myself and Gracie Cashman. Talk about the experience it was for this past week on the tryout.
It was awesome. You know, I was only there for the semis and for the finals, but it was a great experience for me. You know, like Gracie said, this makes great reality TV. It gives guys who may have fallen through the cracks an opportunity to you know, get another chance. And that's what the show is about, is given another chance. And, you know, some of these guys really took advantage of it. But it was great watching the passion that these guys had for the game of baseball and the dedication and, you know, and the highs and lows and how to deal with them. And all around, it was a great experience for me.
Now, Sam, you came up with the Yankees. You had that stint there. But you've also coached the University of Tampa, and you've had highly successful record for the last couple of years now. Talk about how it was to mentor some of the kids that were on the tryout.
You know, they're basically the same age as the kids that I'm coaching right now. So, you know, it's great. These guys have a passion for the game and want to play at the highest level. Unfortunately, you know, that's not reality for a lot of people. You know, more often than not, they fail. This is a game of failures, but that doesn't mean that they can't still stay in the game. So, you know, we, you know, that's what we try to tell them, is that, you know, if baseball is really important to you, and maybe when your playing days are over, there's other ways to stay in the game and contribute to it. Kind of like I'm doing right now, and you know, and always doing, you know, over the broadcast waves, and you know, there's still things that we can all do to contribute to the game of baseball, the game that we love.
Now, Sam, number one, I have to thank Sam because he brought my son Ricky to University of Tampa, and it was 2 beautiful years that Ricky played over there. And I'm forever grateful to Sam for that. That's number one. Number two, Sam, how does it feel that in the 90s you had to play under Brian Cashman, and then you ended up working for Brian Cashman's daughter? I mean, how's it?
I was kidding with Gracie while we were filming. I think Brian might have done. I might have been his first contract that he did because he was the assistant GM at the time. So we were kidding around about that. But I got to play under Brian and Keith Michael as well, and two tremendous individuals. The experience was just tremendous. I got to thank you, Ray, because I came in as a 20-year-old young man, wet behind the ears, and coming from Tampa, Florida, to New York City was a little eye-opening for me. So I know we have a lot of talks, and you kind of helped me through those times. But it was just a tremendous experience back then. Everybody dreams about playing in the big leagues, and everybody dreams about playing in the big leagues for the best, or the most known, most famous team in the world, the New York Yankees. So it was just a tremendous experience all around.
Well, I got to say that when Sam got to the major leagues, real good-looking Italian kid, you know what I'm saying? So we had all the girls flooded outside by the parking lot and all that kind of stuff. And then Sam got hurt. And, we had to find another Italian stallion, man, and we're still looking.
Sam made them forget Lee Mazzilli.
That's right.
Well, Sam, thank you very much for joining us here. We have a lot of phone calls, and your presence on the tryout was terrific, tremendous. You're a great guy. You have a great winning record at the University of Tampa, and it was an honor. And there's the record right there, 22 total season. Wow. 913 career wins of 268 losses, 74 major league players have made it to the major league draft.
National titles.
That's right.
5 national titles.
And again, as a proud daddy, my son got drafted under Sam, so I'm very proud of that.
5 national titles.
There you go. And his number's retired right on the wall. Number
Rightfully
22.
so.
Rightfully so.
Unbelievable. It was a pleasure to meet you, sir, and I can't wait to see you in the tryout. Right there, Gracie?
Season 2, Gracie, season 2.
Listen, you're with God's ears.
Something that might be that is escaping me and is probably escaping the audience. What is the grand prize? What does the winner get? I bet Gracie can answer that for us.
No. Let me just say this, because Sam Militello with the Italian thing, they get to hang out with Frankie Valli for 2 days.
Oh,
there we go. There we go.
What does the winner get here, Gracie?
So all of the finalists will have the opportunity to showcase their talents in a kind of traditional showcase style. And they'll do that in front of a lot of really reputable people in the baseball industry. So agents, managers, GMs, ownership. And so all of them actually will have the opportunity to fight for a contract. Obviously, there's no guarantee for an MLB contract or a professional baseball contract at all. But I think it's, not many people can say that they got to show off and do their thing in front of owners, GMs, scouts, agents, managers, indie ball teams. You're doing it all at once. So contracts are available and theirs for the taking.
So it's like The Voice. It's like American Idol in all those respects.
Exactly.
You get signed. You hopefully get signed to dip your toe and your foot in pro baseball.
That's right. This is Reach Out, 727-441-3000. One of the favorite stories I heard, Gracie, was the year you were born, your father took over as GM of the Yankees. That's some year, huh?
Yeah, 1998 was a big deal for everybody, apparently. I was born in October, and then the Yankees won. My dad took over as GM the beginning of that season. I was born in October, and then they won the World Series.
Wow.
He couldn't have done it without you, Gracie. 25 years. And you're the lucky charm of Lucky Charms.
I'm the lucky charm of every. That's why
you are the Tinkerbell
with the bat. That's why I
Tinkerbell with the bat.
Yeah. There we go.
That's what
I love this kid.
We have a couple of people on the phone lines here. It's jammed up here. We have Stacy Goodrich is so connected. and want to bring her on because you talked about the mindset, the psychological aspect of it. And Stacey and I did a group and worked with the young people there, mental strength coaching, journal for athletes. And Stacey, real quick, how was the experience for you on the tryout?
Hi, everybody. It's so good to hear you guys. And Gracie, it's good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you.
I loved every minute of it. I got the opportunity to come in on one of the final days of shooting and just to experience some of the guys. And I got a chance to do some mental strength coaching and work with them on the mental side, which is, what I love to do and what I love to share. And so I had a really good time. And thanks, you guys. Thanks, Steve, so much for connecting me.
No, I think together we really helped a lot of those young people because day after day they were looking for that support. And as O said, it's the mindset just as important as the physical talent, right, O?
Unbelievable. And this show, like any reality show that's a talent-based reality show, there's others out there that are about families or, entertainers or whatever. This is a true talent-based reality show. The pressures abound. And I knew that as it developed every day, I knew it would happen from the beginning, and then it played out, Ray. It played out. I mean, the guys, as we were getting rid of players and whittling down, like I said, that final, I'd say top 10, which those 10 made it very difficult on us. My goodness, you could see it in their faces. They were happy to be there, but they were pressured.
Yeah, but let me say this.
Proud of them.
As much as the players needed the psychological refreshing scenario, however you want to call it. I'm trying to act smart right now.
Don't do that.
We as judges, etc., we needed their help also.
Sure.
Yeah, okay. No doubt. Because at one point, I got mad at Orestes.
He did.
I got mad. I was ready to fight.
I had to step back. I was wrong. I thought that there was going to be a part in there early on in one of the episodes. I think in the second episode, you're going to see Ray jumps on me, and I thought I was 100% right with my point. I'm not going to break it out. I'm going to let the people watch it. So I'm going to tease the fact that you need to watch this because I was adamant that I was right, and in the end, you'll find out that I was wrong, and
what kept you from not punching me?
Well, Wade Boggs was in between me, and that was pretty much the biggest thing that kept me from punching you.
And the 20 other contestants were in between you also.
and Gracie said, "Don't do that." She's my
I'm sure of that.
My executive producer, Rob. So I couldn't.
We got to keep it moving. Thank you, Stacey, for calling.
Thank you, Stace.
We have Paul, who's one of the candidates. He's the big sexy there, and the older guy. Paul, you there, sir?
Hey, good evening.
Oh, this is 60.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, big 60.
How you doing,
man, it's good. Listen, I thought you were great, man, and a great addition.
You.
Obviously, the age plays a factor, but it was so beautiful. And I want you to just tell us real quick your experience because you brought an effervescent, personality to this. Somebody that loves baseball has loved it for 50 years.
Yeah, no, thank you
60
so
years,
much.
Robbie. You probably loved it since you were a kid.
Well, since I'm at least 10, right? So, and still loving and still playing it. So I can't tell you, just met some of the nicest people on the planet, including everybody on the show tonight. So I can't tell you, my heart is full for having an opportunity to be with you all. It's just absolutely tremendous and wonderful. Just a wonderful time.
Thank you so much, Paul. We have another person on the line there, Gabe, who was also another candidate. Gabe, you there, sir?
Hey, what's going on, guys? How you doing?
How you doing? Talk about the experience you had. And Gracie, I know you talked with him and other people. Talk about, Gabe, what you learned from the week at the tryout.
I'll let Gabe go ahead.
I could write a novel with the amount of things I learned this past week with Big O and the other judges there. It was incredible. To be honest with you, I was telling Steve, I got on the bus and I was so hesitant. I was like, well, can't go back now. I'm in a bus in the middle of Tampa. so I better come up with a good excuse to my boss why I'm going to be out this week. But no, it was an incredible time. Connected with so many of these players, and they all had a distinct story on why they were there, which made the show extremely special, right? None of us had the same road to get here. Everybody had a completely different path, how to overcome completely different obstacles. And for us I know we're competitive when we're going after each other, but being in the house and talking with each other and learning more about each other, that was a unique experience that I would never trade.
Well, Gabe, thank you so very much, and you were awesome.
Good luck on the rest of the show, Gabe.
Yeah, good luck on the rest of the show. It ain't over till it's over, right, Gracie?
Yeah, it ain't over till the fat lady sings.
There you go. But we also worked with a gentleman, Alberto, who is gathering everybody there. Alberto, are you there, Alberto?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good. How you doing?
Alberto, you back in Miami?
No,
I'm in New York now. I'm in Long Island.
Oh, geez. Okay.
So
back in the cold up here.
Alberto, talk about a little bit of your experience and your feelings about the tryout so far.
No, honestly, it was an incredible experience, man. Like prior to the tryout, this is our first time getting into reality TV. We came from a film background. And, with film production, you kind of know exactly what you're going to shoot. Every day is regimented. You know what the scenes are going to be. With this, you had no idea what's going to happen. There's like all these twists and turns every episode. Players that you didn't think were going to make it, made it. The players that you thought were going to make it, weren't going to make it. It's like everything. It was incredible. Like the drama and the performance, the athleticism. It was an amazing experience.
Now, Alberto, you've been on the set of different things. Talk about this. Why this stands out for you?
I think no one has ever really been able to tap into that concept of creating a system for people to try out in an athletic way. There's The Voice, there's all these creative outlets, but for sports, I mean, this was really the first one. And as we saw with the COVID draft, the number of available players just dropped drastically. So there's just so many people out there with a ton of talent that could really do well on a team or on a minor league system and just have no way of breaking into it. Once they miss that boat after college, it's over for them, and it's people lose their dream, lose a shot at their dreams before their career could even take off. So for us, that's the main thing. We just want to create a platform for people to, be known, be recognized, and have that second chance.
And how's it working with Armando?
Oh, he's awesome. He's he's chaos personified in a good way. He's the most charismatic, one of the most hardworking guys. And then, as soon as the shoot's over, he's he wants to eat a steak and then sleep for 13 hours.
How was it working with Grace?
Oh, Wade was awesome, man.
No, Wade. We don't care about Wade. We're talking about Grace.
Gracie.
Oh, great. Oh, great. I heard Wade. Oh, Grace is the best. She had a really great vision for what the whole show was going to be, and fought to defend that vision at multiple times, and did a really good job advocating for the show, for the production, for the players. It really would not be where it is if it wasn't for her.
Well, Alberto, thank you so very much. Very kind. But you take care. We're going to see you down the road real soon. But Ray, you on Stengel Huggins Field.
Right.
And you reminded everybody the history behind that.
Right.
But you also reminded us about Marilyn Monroe.
Right.
And Joe D.
Right.
So you had the thought. Right. Explain that thought so people know.
Wow, look at that.
Explain that.
You know what? It's just every time I saw that picture of Marilyn, I've been always looking at it for years. I always wanted to find someone that could get into that same aura.
Right.
And all of a sudden, this young lady on our last day was walking across the field, and I said, "Hey, just slow down a second." And I took that picture, and then I had my friend Peter Rodriguez, who's a magician
back in New York, NYPVG.
Yeah, put it together, and
so
boom.
that's the girl on the other side.
That's Gracie and Marilyn Monroe.
Get out of here!
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow! And so our viewers out there.
There's the water tower.
There we go.
That's
There's
awesome.
The water tower.
I missed that one.
Right,
Yeah.
the same exact spot.
So Gracie, you're right up there with Marilyn Monroe. What do you think?
I mean, that's some good company to be in. So
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but both of them were demanding, beautiful, but also pains in the. Oh, never mind.
Pains in the culo.
Ray's lucky Joe DiMaggio's in the line.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is funny. Well, we're going to keep it moving. We have another contestant candidate that was doing really well. Harrison, are you there, buddy?
Hi, I'm here.
How you doing?
I'm great. I'm hanging in here. I'm at my buddy's house in Dunedin, Florida, and I'm just chilling out since the show's over.
Now we got Gracie Cashman, we got Ray and the Big O, Aris, Joe, and myself, and
Robbie out in
and
Atlanta,
Robbie
baby.
Robinson. Talk about your experience so far on the tryout.
Oh, so far, I mean, it's been great. I mean, you got a great group of guys that are coming out, you know, try and get the big prize. It's definitely a different structure than any other reality show I've ever seen. But it definitely has been an experience that I'll never forget for the rest of my life.
One of my faves, by the way. This kid right here is left-handed hitter, right-handed thrower, outfielder, and one of the speedier guys that we have on in the roster of 20 guys, 17, everyday players and 3 pitchers. Really impressed me.
One thing that Vin Scully always said too was that speed never has a slump.
Exactly. That's great. Yeah. I wish I had speed. When I was 6'4", 250, I was, those 0 for 20s, I was looking for a little bunt single, but I had to fight my way through it.
Hey, and let's just say that ironically, Harrison's comes from music royalty too.
Yes, he
Really?
does.
Because
Yes, he does.
his dad puts a check into Robby and Frankie Valli's pockets.
Yes, he
a couple
does.
times a year. He's the biggest music promoter in Florida and around the country.
In Florida, period.
Hint, Robbie,
So,
Clearwater, Florida.
Yeah. So there you go,
Oh, is
Robbie.
this Bobby Rossi's son?
Hello,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
right.
I love Bobby
Those,
Rossi.
those Dodger fans are just a little bit slow.
Yeah, no, that was pretty quick. He didn't say who it was.
There we go.
Robbie figured that one out with just a couple of hits.
There
That
we
was
go.
good.
Robbie knows where the checks come from.
Yeah, baby.
He's Bobby Rossi's son. Quite the player, man. We're very pleased to have him on the crew.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. Oh, I really do. Honestly, though, I think if you got out there, you probably would have beat us in all the.
There we go.
Brother, I could hit. I don't need a designated hitter. I need a designated runner.
Yeah,
That's what I would need.
That's right.
But
That's
before
right.
you go, Harrison, I got to give you props because in the middle of finals week, you did all your finals virtual, online, and the phone, and you competed really well, and you continue to be the great person that you are, man. God bless you for doing what you did in the last week. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Great job,
I really
kid.
appreciate it.
Great work, Harrison.
He's going to be well received
That's
on
right.
TV.
One second. We had my son on who delivered the 5 babies.
Sure.
I want to show a quick segment of Saturday Night Live. Lauren Michael sent us this earlier, so I want to show.
Please.
Do we have it?
Yes, we
All
have.
right, let's check it out.
A
Laura.
police officer in New York State is being called the baby whisperer after he helped deliver his 5th baby in 9 years. Only 5 babies in 9 years, said Nick Cannon.
Nick Cannon.
Hey, Saturday Night Live, your son is
Yes, Saturday Night Live.
Unbelievable. So, Gracie, when you saw these people, when you were interviewing these young people and older people, what was going through your mind? You must have saw this talent level right in front of you, and to come to this week in Florida must have been some amazing sight there for you.
Yeah, it was a great experience. I feel like I got to know everyone really well. And I said to all of the contestants and to I think every other producer on set as well that I think the fact that our biggest problem is that they're all so delightful. And like I was so sure that there would be at least a couple from the pool that I would have to interview and that I would be like, ugh, this one again. And never. Every single last one of them was an absolute delight, ray of sunshine, blessing of a person. And so it was great to get to chat with them and learn about their stories and their passions and why they're there and all of that. It's a really great experience to get to know all of them on a deeper level.
Well, this is Tan Talk Radio Network, AM 1340, AM 1350, AM 1400, FM 106.1, and FM 104.3. We have another surprise for you, Ray.
Oh,
you ready for another surprise?
Here we go.
Your main man was Billy Martin, right?
Yes.
Well, we have his son on the line there, Billy Martin Jr. Are you there, sir?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I am.
Yes.
How we doing, fella?
Thank you for
Hey,
your
guy.
perseverance and waiting. We had a lot of phone callers in there. But Billy, talk about Ray for a minute.
For a minute? I mean, you guys already had one of his sons on tonight. I represented another one of his sons. They're all serving and helping people like Ray's done his whole life. I mean, don't get me started. I might cry.
Wow.
And Billy, you're part of this project because your father was a legend and should be in the Hall of Fame. And we do the show Bat Boy, and we honor him each and every time we do that performance. So Ray, Billy Martin and Billy Martin Jr., what does that mean to you?
Well, Billy Jr., I love so much because when I needed his dad the most in the 70s, and I didn't have a dad like that, and Billy was always there for me, Billy had to share him with me. And he did that so graciously, and he's been my little brother since he's a little boy. And I love Billy Martin Jr. with a passion, and his kids are my niece and nephews. And I've always said, if you ever meet Olivia, she's just like Grace. Same, everything. Have I always told you that, Billy?
Absolutely. And, I feel the same way about your family. I mean, you're my family, right? You're my brother, obviously from a different mother.
That's who he is, and we're there for each other. We always have been, and I thank you so much for that.
And Billy, what's your thoughts about the tryout?
I mean, come on. It's way more fun for me to watch something like this than American Idol. I mean, I can go sing karaoke. That doesn't mean I can go take 97 beats. It's great. It's fun. In today's world, shock me if some of these guys actually get signed. And someday somebody from this show is going to get to the big league.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Billy, I want to thank you very much for taking a few moments of your time. We're racing against the clock here, but thank you so very much. In a couple of words, though, the young people that we do this show for the young people to really understand the legacies of musicians and athletes. Tell the young people out there about your father, kind of in a minute or less.
It's kind of tricky, but
yeah.
My father's known for screaming and yelling at umpires and kicking dirt on them. And the funny part is his heart was even bigger than his grit. His love for people, and like Ray talked about, stepping in, being a father figure for him. My father cared about winning more than anything with his job, but he cared about people. And he tried to figure out people, and he was a psychologist that he really didn't get credit for, because every human's different, right? And to push their buttons, some of them need a hug. Some of them need a kick in the ass, and some of them you don't need to say anything to. And that's a quote he told me about how he dealt with players. And I watched it and I saw it. And, if everybody could just step back every now and then and really look at what it was pretty dadgum amazing.
Billy, well said. God bless you, man.
Yeah.
We'll see you down the road real soon.
Super cool.
I look forward to that. Love the show, fellas.
Thank you. Ray, I mean, it's like a superstar show here. We got all kinds of people coming out for the tryout. And when you look back on this whole thing the last week or two, what's your thoughts?
I'm sad that it's over. One of the highlights. I thought, at my age, you don't get as many highlights anymore, but this was truly a highlight to work with the Big O. And oh man, it's just been wonderful to see Gracie in her first big time production, and just to observe her. And I'm so proud of how she went about her business, and she just took charge, and all of this stuff. You, Steve, and Aris stealing, and my friend Joe to bring him back from that glory years to do it again. You know, it's just wonderful. It was
And Dom
wonderful.
Scala.
Dom Scala, you know. Hey,
What a great job, Dom.
This guy, to watch Disco Dom and Gracie dancing.
Yes.
Oh, I would have liked to see that.
There's a video out there of that. It'll show up in social media.
Watch it on my
Yeah,
Instagram
TikTok.
tonight.
There we
Go
go.
into my Instagram. It's there. I think and Gracie was a better dancer than Disco. I think the age.
Wow.
They caught him a
Hey,
little bit.
Gracie, how many TikTok videos did you do on the last week or so?
I just got the one.
Just the one? Okay.
Just the one, and it's gonna be a doozy. It's got every judge, every host.
Wow.
It's gonna go viral.
So Gracie, what's the highlight for you of the week or two that this has been going on for?
I think for me, one of the highlights was getting to see all of the players grow and develop. I really think that, you know, we saw everyone come out of their shell. We saw them just blossom in their baseball ability and confidence. And that was really great to be able to facilitate that and be a part of it. And just on a personal level, it was great to work with my dad for a day. And then work with all these people that know him really well and remember me from when I was really little, and to kind of be kind of be an adult in my own right now, and working with people that he really loves and respects, and, you know, not be a little baby anymore.
Wow.
Did a great job.
And Ray, Haley Swindell, talk about her for a moment.
Haley Swindell. I wish we would have had more time with Haley. She's a pro. She's a great on Broadway, and you know what? She's a great producer, and I'm sorry that we didn't have more time with her.
She did a wonderful job there. And Joe and Aris, what's your takeaway from the tryout? Joe first.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'll tell you, the opportunity that these guys had, and they didn't get signed out of college, and here's an opportunity for them to show that, you know,
And
they're
someone
worth
made
being
a
signed.
mistake.
Yep. And, you know, as mentioned earlier, with the number of rounds in the draft now is only 20 versus 40, there's a lot of talent out there that in the past would have been signed.
Right.
So this was another opportunity for them.
Yeah.
And I was very blessed to be part of this production.
Aris?
For me, people need to tune in to see Gracie make her fashion statements. That girl, her wardrobe was unbelievable. And I asked her if she had a budget for this, you know, if they took care of this. She said, no, this is her own
Hey,
clothes.
don't start that, all right?
Yeah, but for me, man, this
Season
week for
2,
me,
I'm gonna get
more Forrest Gump moments.
a whole hair, makeup, and wardrobe team. You see.
Season 2, baby. Season 2.
That's fine. Oh, what's your takeaway?
A lot, but I guess to encapsulate it, sports is ingrained in our fiber of America, but really worldwide. When you think about it, you know, look how excited everybody gets with the Olympics, and countries that have been not really good to each other stop for a period of time. So sports, it's just so ingrained, and it just stops everybody, and we can all come together. So we know that. And then there's baseball to America. It's totally in our fiber, right? And no disrespect to football, but because of how massive it's come and become in college football, and obviously the gaming of it, you know, because it is, you know, fantasy football. The reality is that baseball is our national pastime, and everybody can relate with it. Men and women, boys and girls, tall, skinny, big, little. It's just that type of a sport that you can make it in. There's no other sport. All the other sports tend to be very skill related. Mm-hmm. Baseball, you have to have the skills, but you could, you know, there's different aspects of pitching and defense and stuff. So I saw all of that. And then lastly, I think Paul put it best, one of our contestants, everybody had a different story.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So when you watch this, you're going to be amazed. And Gracie got that out of all of them. You're going to be amazed how many different and compassionate and interesting and funny and dramatic stories you got out of it. So it's true reality meets sports, which, you know, is part of our everyday life.
Well said. And Ray, 50 years in baseball next year. We've been doing this Bat Boy show for the last 5 or 6 years. And our first show back a couple years back was highlighted on the Yes Network. We're going to end tonight's show with the clip from the Yes Network talking about Bat Boy. We'll be in Florida. We'll be all over the place in New York. God bless everybody that took part in this great show tonight. I want to thank Bobby, Carmine, and Anna behind the scenes, and Gracie, Joe, Aris, Robby. Thank you so much, sir. God bless.
Time now for a sneak peek at a new off-Broadway play with a Yankee theme in Babylon, New York. It is titled Bat Boy, a Yankee Miracle, and is based on the life of Yankee special consultant Ray Negron. He was caught by the late George M. Steinbrenner spraying graffiti on the walls of Yankee Stadium while a youngster. Negron became a Bat Boy and has been with the organization ever since. Students from Oceanside High School had roles in the show as well as some other familiar faces. Here's a look.
You know, it takes me back. It's like a time tunnel, going back and reliving Thurman, Reggie, Catfish, all the guys from the era that I love so very much, and the boss, and how he became the boss because of that era. 1973, doing graffiti outside Yankee Stadium. And that night, I was the bat boy for the New York Yankees, and the man that caught me was George Steinbrenner. Okay?
What he did! Wait, stop! What? Stop. Look what he did! It's my team. It's okay. It's okay.
George was the craziest man I ever knew in my whole life. Let me say that George Steinbrenner was the greatest man I ever knew in my life. I feel that I'm giving tribute to the people that I love so much, to the boss, to Reggie, to Billy, to Thurman. Forget about it.
Thurman, you're my captain. I need your advice. I'm just Thurman. No need for the captain, or I'm going to start calling you boss.
You know something? I like that. I like that. That's a pretty good nickname, Thurman. Thanks. Everybody loves the Yankees, and because you love the Yankees the way you do, you want to be a part of it. The Phantom of the Opera is in my play. Kieran Sheehan, who did it more than any other guy, over 1,000 times. Joey Gian, who is the heartthrob on Knots Landing, an all-time great TV series, playing Thurman Munson. Great musical talent that's in it. I mean, I got a call. The show's not even over. I got a call from William Morris Agency talking to me about some of the kids that are on display. So it's wonderful.
FM 106.